that has to be in some degree in the experience, or you're interpreting the experience through grace. So you're raising the point that maybe we only have 3 or 4 categories, or maybe we can combine 3 and 4. But yeah. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up and look at it, right, is because I have had dreams, enlightenment dreams, that were later passed through the game of getting authenticated and verified or confirmed by roshis and yogis years and years ago when I was a young man. So therefore, I would say then there is good evidence in my own experience that this is a way. Now, what's interesting about it is that I also was able to bring back that state of mind independent of dreams. And yet there was no sense of a thou, without any method at all. And therefore, I hit this. This is in July 22nd, 1955. This is very disturbing to have that kind of experience, you know, because you really, see, how do you know it's real when it comes to dreams? All kinds of people, when I mentioned in those days, were arguing it's impossible to have one through dreams, and all authorities were, at that point in my experience, were taking positions in respect to that. And so I decided the right way to do it is not to describe how I got it or in what circumstance, just talk about the experience. Talk about the experience, and there was any doubt about what it was in the minds of people who are competent to judge these sorts of things. But then, when I also had the same experience independent of dreams, then I could again go to the same kinds of people I was working with, and they could then confirm both. The interesting thing about it now for this talk is that it was of the same kind of experience, that is, the pure luminosity. Then a friend of mine and teacher, who will at this point be nameless, gave me some LSD. And lo and behold, I had the same experience again with LSD. And again, I could talk about it and in any one of these categories. And I must say that that experience, in terms of time and psychic space, was allowed the idea that this can be penetrated to greater and greater degrees of profundity. It gave me the evidence that that's the case. There was no doubt about it. Then I got involved in, because of this, naturally I got involved in all kinds of yoga, meditation. And I think that's essential, that people who get into this and reach some kind of profound experience don't stay there. They don't become dependent upon it. That they then try to reach the same thing without it, because you always know when you're in that experience, to the degree that you reflect, you're aware of the fact that there was something about that experience you brought with you, and therefore there's always the sense that that was a catalyst. You're aware of that's a catalyst. It didn't produce it, it was a catalyst.
Well, I'm not an expert on Timothy Leary, but from what I've heard, he continued taking the LSD.
Well, that's
He never went beyond it.
Yeah, okay. I would say that there are people who do that, and I would say the people I know, many people I know, have left it because they are much more interested in discovering what it's like directly.
Ram Dass.
Yeah, Ram Dass was one of them, yeah. Now, this is the curious problem now, grace. What is that term? I mean, because in one way you could say grace is acting in meditation, it's acting in yoga, it acts through substances, it's a catalyst. You could take that one term and blanket the entire group. There's no reason why it can't, doesn't. It all depends upon what you're going to say constitutes this rather curious word. Because wherever you put the boundary on this, you necessarily have a greater boundary for grace. To the degree that this distinction loses its significance, so too does the idea of you lose its significance. And so too you get a different look at the idea of grace. So these are correlative terms. They function in different ways. Now, I'd like to continue this because there's another side to it. All right, ready? Here we go. In order to explore this, I really can't separate it from myself because I played, my game did not emerge through books, and I don't quote books to make the points I make. Luckily, fate had it that I was able to be open to these kinds of experiences over the years. So therefore, I would like to then take to the next stage in order to pursue the idea of what may be the future of this game. And I call it the noblest game. Philosophy to me is the noblest game. Philosophical midwifery. I mean by philosophical midwifery, that art where, let's use the example, when a woman is skilled enough to see another pregnant and can identify that, right, and can assist in the delivery, can make the judgment about whether the birth is a true and noble birth, whether it then is also, on the another level, is also capable of functioning as a matchmaker. When all of these things are brought together in the old picture, that person then deserves the title a midwife. Socrates calls himself, as you know, a philosophical midwife because he says, I have the same art as my mother. His mother was a midwife. He says, the only difference is, he said, when I consider mankind, he said, I can see whether or not they are pregnant because man can be pregnant in his soul and he needs to give birth. And he said, my art is the same as my mother's. He said, I can tell who's pregnant, who's ready for delivery, or whether or not abortion is necessary. He said, I can therefore help and assist in the delivery and help the pains and the travails that take place during the delivery. I can also judge whether it's a true and noble birth. He said, I'm also a good matchmaker, though I don't want to mention it, he says, because that means he has the ability to send students or people to various teachers. That's matchmaking on the philosophical level. So that's the way I am going to use the idea of philosophical midwifery. Right now, we are all pregnant. Mankind, we are all pregnant. We are all pregnant. And what we are waiting to give birth to is the very experience of ourselves being pregnant. Man is both two-sided. There's the mortal and the immortal side. He's really going around looking to give birth to ultimate reality, to a vision of ultimate reality, which is the same thing as himself, the nature of the higher self. And I had a very curious background, which I'd like to share with you for a while. All right? When you have this quest for personal meaning, right,